Okay, yeah, I'm live. Okay, I'm gonna answer some questions right fast. One of them is how to avoid or defend against bear, large predators, mountain lions, bears. For example, black bears are really more scared of you than you are them, unless it's a mother with cubs. In that case, say I'm beat bopping through the woods, come across a bear, and it's a mother with cubs. Black bear in this case. I'll get to grizzlies and brown bear here shortly. What you want to do is you have some options. The option you don't want to take is you do not want to run. Okay? What you try to do is stop and start backing off slowly. Do not appear to be a threat at this point. If most time they'll just look at you and either run away if you appear not to be a threat. You don't want to climb a tree because a black bear can climb a tree better than you can, and you sure as shit don't want to run because a healthy one will chase your ass down. Okay, they run like at 25 to 35 miles an hour in short distances. So if you do have to confront, you can make yourself appear to be bigger than what you are. Clap your hands. If you have access, pick up two rocks and bang them together. Make noise. Appear to be something that they don't want to mess with. Okay? If they do charge back. Fight for your life. Attack the face, the nose especially. Come down hard on that nose and beat it like it's a red-headed stepchild. You beat it like a borrowed slave. You beat that bitch right in the nose. Eyes, push his eyes out, whatever you have to do. Okay? But 9 times out of 10, a black bear is not going to bother you. A grizzly bear and brown bear, what I personally would do, say I'm going to hiking in the Pacific Northwest. If I'm there to have fun, what I want to do is carry bells with me because talking to yourself makes you crazy, so you don't want to do that. Around Christmas time, pick your ass up some of those jingle bells that you can get at the Dollar Tree or the Dollar General, Walmart. Put them to your pack and just let the bears know that you're there. Make noise, whistle, listen to music. Unless you're hunting, then you're pretty much armed. In the Pacific Northwest, doing that, they make bear spray, which I've never had to use, but I don't want to risk my life to a bear spray. If you're legally able to, carry a 45 or 50 caliber. Okay? Um, unless you can't do that, then what you want to do is, just don't be obvious. And what I mean by that is don't eat before you go into the woods. Don't have it all over you. Don't smell like a mill. As you're walking through the trails, make noise. Talk to your fellow people. If you come across one, in this case, you want to back up, slowly while maintaining visual contact with it at an angle away. If that doesn't work and you have to confront, then you want to clap, make noise, appear bigger than what you are, put your hands above your head, act a damn fool. You know what I'm saying? At this point, you try to basically intimidate. You don't, like, you want to show that bear that you are not worth his time because you're going to fight back. Okay? If you have emergency flares, I have heard of this. I've never done this, but a guy that I trust has went through this, and it's what they did. They tell you to light the flare and hide. No, because next time he's going to come back. You light the flare and you run up and put it right in that bear's face. You scare the bear. If you have to fight, then you do the same thing. You attack the face, the nose. You beat that bear down. Okay? As you go on, if you go into wolves, you're basically dead or you're not, because wolves hunt in packs, and you're not going to win against a pack of wolves. So you want to make sure that they know you're there, but do the research. Wolves are nowhere near as violent to humans as the movies make them out to be. They basically just want to know you're there, and they'll more or less leave you alone. Don't pack your food with you. Don't cook at your campsite. Have a different campsite that you're going to cook food at, especially in areas like that. And don't be a meal. Okay? Up here, that if you do see a wolf, don't maintain eye contact because they're going to see that as a form of aggression. Don't bare your teeth. Don't act like a dumbass. Back up. Do not run because they will chase your ass down, and there's usually 4 or 5 in the bush waiting on you. Kind of just back up, leave the area if you have to. But in cases if you're going to be in an area like that, if, like I said, legally 45, 50 caliber, just as a resort in case they don't back down. But just about every wild animal, as long as it knows you're there and you're not going to basically mess with it, it's going to leave you alone. And no, it doesn't mean not going to the woods. That means when you go into the woods, unless you're hunting, make noise. I take those jingle bells that you pick up at Christmas and attach them to your bag. Have it rattling. Just have them know that you're there. Okay? They have this stuff that you can buy at REI. It's like bear-proof bags. I don't personally see the use in that. Just have your main sleeping area about 100 yards away. Have your cooking area. Okay? Once you do your cooking, whatever's left, whatever refuse you have, toss it in the fire. Get rid of it. Bury it if you have to. So, they even say that, some animals, especially mountain lions, can smell a woman on her period. I don't know about that. To me, that bitch is nasty if you can smell her on her period. So she might want to be in the woods anyway. That's that hippie free love bullshit that we don't deal with. So keep that hippie bullshit over there and just have some common sense. Like I said, the way to defend against a mountain lion, shoot the bitch. That's all you can do, because you're dealing with a hunter that has, instincts and weapons that's going to hunt you down if it wants to. You're not going to outrun it. You're not going to even probably know it's there. I've slept in tents where you wake up the next morning and there's, paw prints all around. So, as long as you're not messing with it, it's pretty much not going to mess with you. In wet environments, one of the first things that I would do is find fat wood, have that be my first fire, and char the shit out of whatever's organic around. Your plants. I'm not going to cut off my shirt or whatever, but your plants can be charred. Anything organic can be charred. So, have the next fire mentality. Also have a possum mentality. What that means is when you're out and you come across something dry, pick it up and take it back with you. Make sure it stays dry. You want to maintain your core. If you get wet, you're going to start getting colder, especially your trunk. Your trunk area would be from about from here down to your crotch area. Make sure that stays dry and warm. Because most people wear cotton into the woods. You don't want to wear cotton. You want to wear wool. If you're in a wet environment, you want to have rain gear, which can, hell, a trash bag cut with a hole cut in it can work, You want to stay dry. So, if you don't have wool, like shirts, undershirts, dress in layers, put on a raincoat. If you don't have a raincoat, take a 55-gallon trash bag, or if you're a smaller person, Regular size trash bag, cut a hole in that bitch and wear it like a moo-moo. You know what I'm saying? So all you're doing is trying to stay dry. When your clothes gets wet, take them off. It takes you longer to freeze to death naked than it does in wet clothes. So take off your clothes. It sounds counterintuitive, but you'll actually be warmer as you're drying your clothes by the fire. Dry off a bit. Plus, you'll dry faster. It's all about maintaining your body heat. If it's cold and wet, don't sleep in wet clothes. Make sure that they, dry them out as much as you can. Your sleeping bag, whatever it is, your campsite should have a tent. Crawl in that bitch naked if you have to. Heat up your water bottles if they're still. Heat them up. Put the cap on them. Put them in your sleeping bag and use them as a hot water bottle. All you're trying to do is stay dry and warm. That's it. You can suffer through a night without food if you have to. You can suffer through being a little cold and dry if you have to. But your ass ain't suffering through dry and wet or cold and wet. You're just not. They'll find you 2 weeks later half eaten by a damn mountain lion. So what you can, that's what you want to maintain. Foraging. Make sure you know what you're going to eat before you eat it. There are ways to test if you're not sure. One thing you can do is take one of the plants, take a small piece of it, rub it on your skin, and wait about an hour. You can do your inside of your wrist. If you don't have an allergic reaction, rub a little bit on your lips right here. Wait another hour. You don't have an allergic reaction, take a small piece, put it in your mouth. Don't swallow. Mash it up a little bit with your teeth and spit it out. Wait about an hour. Don't have a reaction that way. Take a small piece of it, put it in your mouth and swallow. Wait about an hour. Don't have a reaction, as in throwing up, diarrhea, feeling like you're about to die, dying. Then it should be good to go. But most of the food that you can find, for example, pine needle tea, as long as it's not one of the 3 pine trees that is poisonous to people, when those are basically your red cedars and your yew trees, and there's this one pine tree that I can't think of the name of, but I'm sure you can Google it. You can eat the pine needles. You can eat the inner bark. You can eat pine cone seeds. The inner bark, you can eat it raw. Personally, I like to put it in a little bit of frying pan. It kind of turns crispy and it's a little sweeter. You can eat, your grasses, your clovers, mushrooms. They either heal everything wrong with you, or they kill you, and when you're dead, you have nothing to worry about. I don't fuck with the mushrooms at all, unless I know exactly what it is. For example, morels, chicken of the woods. I have heard an expression of if it's got gills, it kills. Don't know. Like I said, mushrooms, you want someone better than me, because I've took classes in it, but to be honest with you, I'm nowhere near a mushroom person. So, plus I ate a couple one time and thought I was getting abducted by aliens. So, I mean, you don't want that. You can make your reindeer moss. If I was in the Pacific Northwest, I'd be living off of, and I didn't have any food. Like, I didn't stop by the Dollar Tree or the Dollar General or Walmart. Pine needle tea, vitamin C. You're on the coast, you can get oysters, clams, mollusk, as long as it don't have the algae going on. Pine tree inner bark. I'd be living off of worms. If you're away from civilization and pollutants, you can eat red worms. Grubs are actually pretty good. Ants. Snakes, just cut the head off. If even if it's poisonous, just cut the head off. You can eat the snake. So basically, when you go into the woods, because my battery's about to die, basically, bears, as long as they know you're there and they don't have kids, little bear cubs, they leave you alone. You're going against something like a cougar, mountain lion, wolf pack, just go ahead and kiss your ass goodbye, because you lost a bet with God at some point. Because statistically, wolves don't mess with people unless they mess with them first. That's the statistics. I'm sure there's somebody out there going to be like, I got attacked by a wolf when I was 5 years old. Well, you better thank God you're still alive. Cougars, they hunt you. You probably won't even know they're there. Grizzly bears, like I said, just make sure that they know you're there. You don't, if you have to, beat them like a borrowed slave. And that's not a racial thing. I'm just Southern. That's an expression. Don't get all PC on me. You beat them across the face, the nose, especially the bridge, because that's a lot of times where they breathe through, and it's real sensitive. So you just do an elbow drop on that bitch, and you'll be fine. Fight for your life. Most of the time, it's almost a requirement in some areas to go in with like a 45, 50 caliber in case that happens. And, just have some common sense. If you're looking for dry wood in a wet environment right fast, take your wet wood, process it down. 99% of the time, the inner pieces of the wood will be dry enough to get a fire started. Don't worry about primitive methods. Take you a lighter, Bic lighter, Zippo even, and do it that way. Okay, don't risk your life trying to do a hand drill in the pissing down rain, because you're not going to do it. No one is. Well, maybe if you're Jesus or like something, I don't know, whatever faith you have, you might be able to do it then, but let's face it, But anyway, I hope this answers some questions. I can get more in depth in each one of them if you want me to, but right now I'm at like 2% on my battery. And I will talk to you after a while. So comment down below, leave a question, comment, like, dislike, whatever it is you want to do. You do you, boo. Get outside, and I love you. Okay, and I'm back for this continuation of Q&A. One of the comments, unfortunately, I had to switch over to my phone, was how do you sharpen a knife in the field? Well, if you're not carrying a small sharpening stone or diamond rod, you can always find stones, just a smooth stone, river stone, beach stone. You can even use your gravel. For example, quartz, any type of quartz. Most time when it's broken off, even in gravel form, it's going to have a smooth edge or a flat surface on it. You can sharpen it with that, sharpen rocks. All you're doing basically is grinding the knife. You can, if you're close to a river or like something that's got a sandy, rocky consistency to it, you can pick that up and kind of spread it out on like a stump or a piece of wood that's fallen down, and just drop your knife that way. You can use your belt if your belt's leather, and I recommend all men wearing a belt. Ain't none of that sagging going on. But you just pull off your belt and strop it. But most of the time, if you can find something like a sandstone or quartz or granite, you can get a decent edge on one. Your saw, unless you bring a file, your saw's really, kind of not going to do it. You're talking about like a hand saw. But most of the time, your saw, the way they're made, don't go dull in a short camping trip or even a couple of weeks of use. It's just the teeth and everything and how they're made. The best saw, in my opinion, it's expensive, but you buy once, cry once. It's a Silky. Below that is a Baco Laplander. And they're kind of tied, but Silky is made out of Japan, and they have interchangeable saw blades. They have a little, like, they're heat treated different. Baco Laplanders are amazing. I've never had one break. I even had one go almost at a right angle, and we took a hammer and beat that bitch back to sort of semi-straight and kept on using it. Now, one thing that I meant to cover in the previous video is lighters. I love me a big lighter, don't get me wrong. But the thing that a Zippo, and when I say Zippo, it doesn't have to be a Zippo, but a Zippo style lighter has going on for it, is, well, I'll show you right fast. I got a couple up here on my wood, on my fireplace mantle. Okay, you just take, now this is a Zippo, but it doesn't have to be. But as you can see, this thing right here is dry. Okay, but what I do have is basically a flint and steel. And on the inside of your Zippo, I have cotton that's been saturated over and over and over again with lighter fluid. So I can take a little bit of that cotton out. I can, take it out, put it down here, and I have fire. I can also char in this. I can take organic material, put in this lid, close it up, put it in the fire, and I'm golden. So that's, a little trick you can use on the Zippos. Now, like I said, it doesn't have to be Zippo brand. It can be Chinese brand. They're kind of made the same, but Zippo has a warranty. It's what I like about Zippos. But on your big lighters, you're wearing socks, which I hope you are. You pick off the fluff off your sock, okay? Like that little, the fluff that gets on your sock, you pick that off. You got a lighter, it's out of fluid, there you go. Boom, you have a tinder source. Not a kindling, but a tinder source. You can take your knife, back of your knife, if it's got a 90-degree angle, or like the edge of your knife, and do on your pants and get that, fluff off. Now, you don't want to obviously put holes in your clothes, but you can do it a little bit and get that fluff off. But when you're dealing with the Pacific Northwest, your main issues is going to be keeping dry and keeping warm, and bugs. So mosquito nets, bug spray, bug dope, here's a tip, wild onions and garlic. You get those up, and if it smells like an onion, it's an onion. Looks like it, smells like it, it's an onion. If it smells like something else, looks like an onion but smells like something else, then it's poisonous. Same way with garlic. Looks like garlic, smells like garlic, it's garlic. But you take your wild onions and you kind of macerate them, and you get the juice and put it on your skin. Natural insect repellent. Do it all the time, and I live in the South. Insects and sweating is what we do. So, to combat the rain gear, like I was saying, wool, if you have wool, wool, the reason you want wool is completely saturated in water. Wool will maintain 80% of its insulation value. Cotton is shit. It's like nothing. In fact, you'll actually lose heat faster through wet cotton, especially through environmental conditions like wind or something along those lines, than you will. I mean, you'll freeze to death in cotton. Cotton kills. Your Gore-Tex. To be honest with you, you have Gore-Tex in your boots. What I would rather do is a couple pairs of wool socks, and if it's real cold and wet, a couple pairs of wool socks, put a bread bag over your socks and put that into your boots. Use pantyhose. If you can get them in your size, put some pantyhose on. That helps. But the Roman legions came up with this when they went into Gaul and Britannia and places like that. Caledonia was, or what they would do is they issued their legionnaires 3 pairs of wool socks and sandals. And the way it works is you put on 3 socks and your sandals. Basically, the sandals are there to keep them from getting all tore up when you're walking. But it gives your feet, through physics, you can sweat out, but your feet will stay dry and warm because it's wool. So I would go along with that. As far as, why I personally, getting back to the Saul question, I've had, if you need a cheaper, not a bad thing, but if you need a cheaper option than a Baco or a Silky, then Craftsman makes a good, hand saw. You can pick it up at Lowe's or Home Depot. Let's see here. Most of the time, like a Baco is going to run you between $30 and $50. A Baco Laplander. It's just a folding saw. Silky, you're looking at about $130, $150, but the quality's there. One thing that you can use the back of the saw for, though, is not just cutting wood, but processing wood. Let's see here. Also in the Pacific Northwest, winter time especially, you wouldn't catch me out there without an axe, and I mean a full size axe, not a forestry axe, not a trapping axe, not a hatchet, not a tomahawk, a straight up full size axe. Doesn't matter the brand. I mean, it could be Hultiforce, it could be Gransford's Brooks, all these, couple $100, handmade axes, Husqvarna military surplus axes. As long as it's a full axe, I'm golden. And the way you tell on an axe, you want to put the head like over the eye, put it in the palm of your hand like this, like right here. Hold your arm completely out to the side, and you want that axe to end up in your armpit. That's the size you need. A double bit, single bit, whatever your preference is. That's what, I would have an axe, period. So, sorry I had to do this in 2 parts. Hope, if you have any more questions, comments down below, private message me on here if you want to do that, and I'll do another video. Anyway, get outside and I love you. Was that Hat Man? That was like Hat Man back here. It's haunted.